Welcome back, everybody, to the Comic-Con podcast. This is episode 44. If you're listening to us, you know you can usually find us anywhere you can find podcasts, so Apple iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor FM. And as always, I am one of your hosts, Zack, a.k.a. The Manimal, and with me is my friend Justin, a.k.a. Nemesis Prime. What's up, Justin?
What's going on, Zach? Gotta say, today we're recording this on Veterans Day, so shout out to all the veterans.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your service, whether you're current, retired, whatever the case may be. But we really appreciate anybody out there who is a listener and, either has some family or who is a veteran out there. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. My father's retired Navy. I was out, like you said, this is Thursday, the 11th. I was out last night, the 10th. It was the Marine Corps birthday. I have a bunch of buddies who are Marine Corps, retired Marine Corps. So we're out, and those devil dogs, man, those assholes can drink. They're getting like lit, just shot after shot after shot. And they're a little wild. But yeah, so also happy belated birthday to any Marine Corps veterans out there and members of the Marine Corps currently. So yeah, man, it's a good week.
It's always doing birthdays. I'm going to shout out my dad. My dad's birthday is actually today on Veterans Day.
You know what? Actually, so is my grandmother.
And he's a veteran.
I forgot to call my grandma today, too. It was her birthday. And I received 2 text messages today reminding me from my parents, like, call your grandma, it's her birthday. So, oops. Anyway, So Comic-Con podcast, we're here as always talking about all things comic related, whether it's the news on movies, TV shows, or any kind of films that are coming out, but also any information on current issues and whatnot. But as the name of our podcast is, the Comic-Con, short for community, we always like to interact with our community, whether it's voicemails, direct messages, or emails. And I believe Justin has a direct message from the community. What do you got, Justin?
Yeah, so this one was sent to me via direct message on my Instagram. Gentleman wanted to remain anonymous just so nobody kind of goes and threatens him.
Shit.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's a controversial topic, but we're always here about bringing the flair to the podcast. But I'll kind of get into the message. We'll just call him Steve for right now.
Okay.
He goes, "Hey guys, love the podcast. I wanted to throw my opinion on the Jonathan Kent talk. So of course we talked about this, I guess close to a month ago, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
about
something like that.
So it's something that we dealt with. But he goes, I believe DC decided to do this because, let's be honest, Superman as a character and comic book hasn't been good in quite a long time. So he is so unrelatable to a lot of people, and his stories are not entertaining to the common or even new comic goer. So the decision to change up John Kent brings a new flair and purpose to the Superman family of books. Batman family has always had Kate Kane for the past 10 years or so. Why not change up the status quo? In my opinion, I like John as a boy with Damian, which I did too.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess the time has passed, and I do not know why they aged him. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Keep up the great content. So
that was pretty tame. I don't think he was going to get any hate for that statement.
Yeah. I mean, him and I were, again, the person, we were going back and forth, and he said some other stuff, but I don't want to really get into it. But yeah, we appreciate that, and I guess, because I don't want someone to be going on his page and posting something. So.
Of course, man. People are crazy these days.
Yeah, but again, that's we took a stance on, it. We gave us our opinion, and he kind of brought some stuff to light as far as exactly, like, I guess Superman is a character who's books are kind of dead in the water right now, for what you say. So yeah, I guess bringing John Kent out as a bisexual and kind of giving him a little flair. But
I agree. I mean, Superman is definitely one of the most uninteresting characters, in my opinion, in DC Comics. Like, he's good in Justice League, obviously, because he's part of a team. But yeah, his solo titles they never really grasped me. I did like Man of Steel run with Brian Michael Bendis recently. I thought that was pretty decent. And then even his run on Superman, I did not like his Action Comics run. Do you remember that one? It was did you read it with like the Mist,
I read his Action,
Mist monster? Like that shit I thought sucked. But the Superman one was pretty good, where they had that Rogol Czar, or whatever his name was. It was something like that.
Yeah,
It was Man
that
of
was that
Steel,
one.
and then it went into like the Superman run. But yeah, I mean that was good. And the return of Jor-El also. It was all so they were pretty good. But yeah, I get what he's saying, man. And
But
maybe
there's
that's
nothing that's
true.
like memorable. That's what it is.
Right. And to be honest, Superman, so here's the difference, what's his alias? Steve said that Batman, you talk about the Bat family, right? There's a lot of characters, the Bat family. There really isn't a Superman family. I mean, you get like Supergirl, but really that's it. Like, what else are we're talking like occasionally we might get a Lois Lane or like a Jimmy Olsen, but there isn't necessarily a Superman family in DC Universe. So,
well, you've
like
always had you've had Superman, Supergirl, Lois has had a
Superboy.
series,
Yeah.
Superboy. So, you know, and those books never really sell well, to be
Like the
honest.
90s was like the best.
Yeah, like
But
even
yeah.
Supergirl hasn't had a really good series. I feel like even like their mini series or limited series were always good for Supergirl. But like New 52, I think was pretty good in the beginning.
When
But
she was
then
Red Lantern, remember that? That was cool.
yeah.
That was
And
really
then
cool.
towards the tail end, it was terrible. I was only picking up all the Rebirth stuff only because of the art germ covers, I feel.
Yeah.
But and I it was just but that's that. So
Yeah, I don't know. And even though with Kate Kane also, like I've never really considered Kate Kane part of the Bat family. Like she's always been the outsider of the Bat family. She doesn't really interact with them. It really wasn't until like what Tinian's run with Detective that she was like super associated with them. It felt like in like the recent years,
well,
which
yeah, I
that was
guess
really cool. That was really awesome. But she
yeah,
kind of
because you
does her
had
own
her
thing.
really she was brought in, and then she was she ran that Detective Comics run even
Yeah,
prior to New 52 for a little bit because of Batman not being there, and
right.
then Nightwing, taking over. So you had a good like 10-15 issues of that, but yeah, I think she was more mainstream, obviously with the TV show and Tinian's run on the Rebirth stuff really
Yeah.
brought her first and foremost.
Yeah, well, I mean, time will tell what happens with Jonathan Kent and readers and everything. It's just everything's so polarized now. It
Hmm.
seems like, and no one wants change. And I think, for the most part, obviously we've talked about this a little bit ad nauseum, but I think you and I both agree. Like, if you want to make a homosexual character, like make a new character. And honestly, the more I think about it, I don't really care about it being Jonathan Kent because he's not an established character necessarily. Like no one can be super invested in Jonathan Kent outside of like you said and like Steve said, the Super Sons stuff. But that's all gone. Like before you even made him bisexual, Super Sons was done. So they aged him and there's no going back to Super Sons.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. You can't be invested in Jonathan Kent. It's just not possible. So
No, definitely not. I guess actually I know this is on one of our topics to talk about, but we appreciate the community message. Again, anytime you guys want to hit us up, either any one of our direct messages, Nemesis Prime, Milton Manimal, the Comic Con Podcast on Instagram, or to the emails, thecomicconpodcast@gmail.com. But since we're talking about Superboy, I wanted to talk about this. Supergirl just ended on the CW. So the finale of Supergirl, and I know Zack's not caught up and doesn't give a crap, so it's
no,
fine.
actually, I'm interested to hear how it
Oh,
ends. Yeah.
okay. Well, so the past 6 years of this show, the first couple years for me was a high. Seeing Supergirl, I thought the action was great. The characters they were bringing in, the villains they were bringing in, but these last couple seasons have been just a trek to get through. And I typically sometimes even fast forward. I always record it, and I sometimes even fast forward the majority of this stuff. But the finale was cool. It was basically it was almost like it's definitely like the DC's Avengers Endgame. I will say for Supergirl, like they brought back all the characters that have been in the series. So you had like Guardian, you have Mon-El was in there, you have
Oh,
Dreamer, you
nice.
have Brainiac, Supergirl, the new Guardian.
Did you have Winslow Slot? Did he come back?
Yes, he's there
Or
as
shot? I
well.
mean, Winslow shot.
Yeah. So they're all there and they're all fighting like all these villains. Like Lex brings in Metallo, Red Tornado, um, who else? There's I can't even think of their names. Like Parasite, and then there's like there's like two other villains that are in there as well. And then he kind of opens up the Phantom Zone, and you think the full Phantom Zone is gonna take out all these people, but and they end up winning. Of course, and it was 2 hours. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So, and it ends with kind of like an homage to Iron Man 1, realistically. Basically, she announces to the world that she is Supergirl.
Hmm.
Like and Cat Grant comes back. So the actress
Oh yeah.
who
Yeah.
played Cat Grant from what's that? Sex in the City.
Hmm.
Can't think of her name. Felicia something. So she comes back, and then it kind of ends with her having an interview with Kara Danvers / Supergirl, and you kind of see that like on an off-screen thing. So,
Huh. So I kind of stopped watching. This was what, season 6, right?
yes. Mm-hmm.
I think I maybe stopped season 4, season 5. I don't think the original Guardian had left the show
Mm-hmm.
yet. Jimmy Olsen character.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he had left. Dreamer was around, and I may not have even finished that season. But yeah, Lex was kind of like dead, wasn't he? Dead or
He was
something? They thought he
alive,
was
and then he was dead, and then he
right.
came back. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a lot of that stuff. I couldn't even keep up with, and Lena Luthor, and
yeah.
there was just a lot of dragging for the last 2
It
seasons,
was
I'd say.
it was good. I agree with you. The first couple seasons were pretty decent. It got it's actually kind of funny that we're talking about this because we just talked about Superboy, but like that was kind of one of these. It was a little heavy handed on like the political topics for me at times with
Oh,
this.
it
Like,
went there for these past 2
yeah,
seasons.
man, and maybe political's not social topics is probably
Mm-hmm.
the better word. And not to say like I have any. I'm not against any of that. So I'm very like socially liberal. You know what I mean? Like my basic belief is, as long as you're living your life and you're not hurting anyone, like I don't give a shit, dude. Do what the fuck you want to do. You know what I mean?
I felt
But
like
this was just like jammed down your throat at
yes.
times. I felt like,
Yeah, the last 2 seasons, they definitely, of all the Arrowverse shows over the years, and I think maybe not so much because of Arrow, Green Arrow, because that started a long time ago, but
right,
I definitely think Supergirl took this, so far, and it was definitely, like you said, jammed down your throat. A lot of changes were made, like middle of this entire series, that I feel like, why wasn't it like this in the beginning of the season? And then all
right.
of a sudden things change. Like it was just,
I remember
I don't
being
know.
very heavy handed too with like. So here's the thing, like you want to do these political or these social tropes and like and activist type stuff, and it's all well and good. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
representation, everything. I agree with all that. But I feel like people don't realize, man, like Hollywood for sure doesn't get this. It's like you push these issues so much, you then become what you are fighting against. Like there were so many times I remember watching Supergirl where it was like so like girl power that it was like man hate. You know what I mean? So it's like
Mm.
you're complaining and like you're upset about like gender roles and how men are misogynist or whatever, but then you're doing the same thing, but now you're like how much better women are than men. It's like you've become what you've hated. You're what you hate, and I really felt like I think that was more than the obviously there was a lot of homosexual representation in Supergirl, which is great. The sister, um, Dreamer was a trans character.
Mhm.
There's tons of those kind of storylines, but I think that what really bugged me the most was like the feminist agenda that was just like too much, man, for me. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like yeah, I don't know.
It's
So
not as bad as it's not as bad as it is on Batwoman, and I like Batwoman. I still think that's even with the change from Kate Kane to Ryan Wilder, I still enjoy that series, and maybe it's because I typically like all the Bat family type of characters,
right,
so being part of Gotham, and even though it's not Batman, but there's always the references to the Rogues Gallery, and this season
right,
is a
it's
little.
cool.
It
Yeah.
has the ideas of bringing in certain characters. I feel like I'm always excited. Like it's always that Easter egg. Like for me, it's always a cooler Easter egg when they're like, oh, Scarecrow or Mad
When it's a
Hatter. Or
Batman thing, yeah,
yeah, I
yeah,
guess that's really more for me. But
of
even
course,
like just
it's because Batman's cooler.
well that too, yes.
Yeah,
But I like the series. Like I hate that Ruby Rose left. And she had a whole big thing on Instagram that she put up. I feel like we should have talked about that months ago. And now with
it's like coming out that she's just a nightmare human being.
yeah, that too. But with Ryan Wilder being a black Batwoman and being also a lesbian, I don't care. Like, she's a great actress. She's killing it as as Batwoman for another season. I think I like, and now you have Batwing. He got introduced at the end of last season, and he's part of the team this season more now. So I'm enjoying it.
So where did it end with Kara? What's she doing now? What's she gonna do now?
Nothing. Like, she just said that, she basically, it just ends with them, of course, at like her sister's apartment. They're all hanging out, like having a drink and dinner, and it just ends with basically Cat Grant having an interview with her. Literally, that's how it ends.
So is she? I mean, she's still Supergirl, right? She's
Oh
still
yeah,
like
she's still
active
Supergirl, but you
okay.
really don't know. Like, literally, the interview is like the last like 10 seconds as like the it kind of like fades to black in a way.
Gotcha.
So it's nothing like super light, it's not super drawn out. It's literally the last 15 seconds of the show. But that's kind of like the overall of that series. I like the beginning seasons. I like more of when the characters were there and they would do like the crossovers and the introductions of the villains. But yeah, it just got, of course, even with, especially with a Superman or Supergirl show, you always bring in the Luthers, and
right.
that's always who it's going to be.
Yeah. There's really not. I mean, you're right. You get like Metallo and Parasite here as well, but they're never like the big threats. And Brainiac, those kind of characters. So the Arrowverse, what do we have left? You got Flash,
Legends of Tomorrow, which is still on.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Batwoman's still on, and then I guess
on
the new Superman show, right?
The new Superman, and Stargirl is part of that universe, and that actually season 2 just ended. They did the Stargirl season 2 summer school, which was really interesting. It was like a short season, and I feel like that's the way it should be, not 20 plus episodes. It was only about, I think, 8 maybe. 8 to 10, I want to say. I can't remember all the top of my head, but this season had Eclipso, and it already sets it up for season 3. So I'm looking forward to it. I think the action in I think the action in Stargirl is a lot better than what they did in some of these other shows. To be honest, I think Stargirl is a great character and her abilities.
Cool. That's good, man. I did see. I read a couple of those articles, or I saw the titles of those articles that Supergirl ended, and I was like, yeah, I want to check this out. But I knew you watched it, so I figured you were going to tell me at some point. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, cool. So kind of keeping up with the news here. We got a couple articles we wanted to talk about. So moving over to the Marvel realm here, we'll talk about a new character coming out in February, I believe. So Marvel's debuting Queen Goblin, the new Spider-Man's next major villain. So if you're reading Spider-Man run right now, you know that Peter Parker is not Spider-Man anymore. He's kind of taken out of the fight, and we got Ben Reilly. Clone Saga Ben Reilly is now the Spider-Man. So they're creating a new Goblin for him, and it had some really cool posters. Did you see the posters for him? Not posters, the ads, I guess.
Yeah. If you want to.
Yeah, it was like first the original brought tragedy, then the Pretender brought chaos, and it's Hobgoblin. Then it goes after that, the symbiote brought carnage. You got the Red Goblin, and then they got the picture. Now all hail their queen, the Queen Goblin. So Queen Goblin flying onto the pages in what is it? I believe it's February of 2022. Yep. And so there's a lot of mystery behind this character. We don't know who it is yet. It's going to be the main kind of villain for the Ben Reilly Spider-Man. And yeah, man, it'd be cool. The goblins are always like, just kind of like what you said about Superman. It's like you always got to come to the Luthers, right? But with Spider-Man, it's always the goblins. You always somehow come back to the goblins. So,
so here's my thing. First of all, they forgot 2 of them. You forgot Demogoblin, and he was a big part of like the 90s, like the Maximum Carnage run.
Cool looking dude too.
Oh yeah, he was awesome. And then you had the Goblin King, who's still around. He's another character, but again, like you just said and I said before, like, really, we're gonna get the Goblin Queen after we just got
Red Goblin,
the freaking Red Goblin that was such like a huge thing for Dan Slott. Like, it's gonna be so great. And that was such it was just so bad.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna bring a female into this. I'm just like, oh my god, you can't introduce like cooler characters. It's just like rinse and repeat. Like,
right. In Spider-Man, like everyone who listens to us knows that I'm not a big Spider-Man fan, but Spider-Man has it. You could argue with a lot of people who has the better rogues gallery, whether it's Batman or Spider-Man, right? Obviously, in comics, those are the two biggies with like famous, notable rogues galleries. And yeah, Spider-Man, you always get like these animal themed villains and whatnot, but they've had some recent ones that were pretty good. Like Mr. Negative was a good new villain that's like, modern in the 2000s era.
Yep.
Who else was there's a that I didn't read this storyline, but they just had what was the big villain recently? Oh God.
Again,
it might have ended up being Harry Osborn.
That
Kindred. I think it's Kindred. Yeah.
Yes.
Was it Harry? It was Harry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, right. I think it's been done for a while. So
I know. Yeah, I know.
But yeah, so they've had some good success in the past, like making some new characters. Obviously, Kindred's probably not a new one, but yeah, I'm with you. The Goblin stuff, like I'll be honest, I'll pick up that book, and I bet you there'll be a million covers for it first appearance. But I do like the writer, dude, Zeb Wells. I like Zeb Wells. He's writing the Hellions in the X-Men universe there. And I enjoy his writing. It's funny. It's good. It's action-packed. So it might be worth checking out.
All right.
So what other articles you got?
Villains. So this is a quick article for me, and I know who out there is listening who absolutely is going to enjoy this one. This is over at CBR.com. So a Gundam pop-up store is coming to San Diego Comic-Con. So if you don't know and don't follow, of course, I'm a huge Gundam fan for the anime stuff, but over in Japan, they have this thing called Gundam Base, which is like a store which has nothing but all the Gundam stuff. But coming this end of the month at San Diego Comic-Con, Bandai and Crunchyroll are bringing over a Gundam pop-up store for San Diego Comic-Con, which is totally awesome. So basically, the chain is going to be hosting special events for this thing, as well as bringing in tons of showcases, rare and unique models, and most importantly, selling exclusive merchandise that isn't available anywhere else. So if you're listening to this and you're going to San Diego Comic-Con, please hit me up, because I am really interested, because they show off some pretty cool designs of some awesome Gundam stuff. They have a Gundam Wing Epion that looks badass that I need. But yeah, if you're going to San Diego Comic-Con, please let me know, because I really want something from this Gundam pop-up show. And I want to see pictures if anybody goes out there. So that's just a quick article. I figured I would throw that in there, because I'm huge into the anime. I'm huge into Gundam. That's all I have on this quick little article. I know Zack doesn't care.
No, I mean, not that I don't care. I'm not into Gundam.
It's like my wheel of time.
Right. Probably. Yeah. Get Ken on here, and you and Ken can nerd out together about Gundam again. So another little topic here. Maybe you guys have experienced this, and this is kind of it's kind of a good topic to talk about, because it's actually like a big deal. We kind of talked about maybe some of this issue last week with the paper shortages, but if anyone suffered like I did this week with comic book shipment issues, you'll understand why with Diamond. So Diamond was recently attacked by ransomware, right? So not really sure what ransomware is, to be honest with you. I don't really know, but they were delaying shipments, and their websites were down. If you tried to actually like log into Diamond, which actually, Justin, that's when I asked her, I was like, hey, what site do you use? Because I usually go to Diamond site to see what books are coming out so I can send my list to my shop. And I could not get the damn page to load. So obviously it all makes sense now. So some shops did get shortages. I know my shop didn't get any Marvel books except for Venom was the only one. I went to another shop in town, and they got their Marvel books, and Justin told me his shops had some of their Marvel books, but I saw some other ones on like Instagram and stuff that also did not get their books. So
some people didn't get their indie stuff. So
yeah,
it's all over.
Man, I feel like we're seeing the end of Diamond. I feel like Diamond's just taking so many L's that they're just going to be like, let's just close up shop, dude. Like, why are we even doing this anymore? So if you're wondering if your shops didn't get the books, that's what happened.
It's crazy. So real quick, ransomware is a type of malware from cryptobiology that threatens to publish the victim's personal data or perpetrate block access to it unless unless a ransom is paid.
Hmm.
So I feel like
Why do that to
seen that.
Diamond?
Well, I guess because they could then post everyone's account
Yeah, their
numbers
business
and
accounts and
everything like that.
stuff.
Yeah, so it's a big thing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's probably some comic shop owner that's pretty freaking smart that could do that. So
Yeah. Probably frustrated with Diamond's like shitty shipping and everything lately. So like, oh, let's just ransomware these dudes.
yeah.
So yeah, so if you were wondering why your Marvel books didn't come in this week, or your independent books, which they only do, what do they have now? What does Diamond still do independent
So
wise?
they do everything but DC.
DC, but I thought so Marvel goes to Penguin, but then Penguin still uses Diamond.
Well, you could use both. I think you could use both.
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken. It's just who gives a better discount.
gotcha.
So it's not like
Gotcha.
exclusive yet. I don't think it's like exclusive like how DC uses like Lunar, like the people use Lunar for everything. I think that's really what it is. So hey, I don't know, man. It was pretty bad. Like, like I said, when you told me about how like your shop only got just Venom, I contacted my LCS and he's like, no, I got everything. He's like, but it's a big Diamond issue. So, and like you said, I saw other shops here in New Jersey had some issues getting stuff. Some shops in New York didn't get their stuff as of Wednesday. And it's crazy because what happens is it hurts the store. And then you're going to have people that are just going to go to another shop and pray that the other shop has it. Because some people are just, they're so afraid of like missing out, of like FOMO, even though it could be like a normal title, like let's just call it like Spiderman, which comes out, which never has a problem, like not as a selling out book, but people just can't wait.
Well, you know what? Like, so I've had bad experiences with that too. Like, same thing. It's something like this. Like, the book doesn't come out, and I'll give you a good example. Not that this is like a great book, but I don't even remember the issue number. But the Daredevil issue where Elektra, the recent run where Elektra became Daredevil, for whatever reason, that book got shorted at my shop. Okay, so I didn't get that book, and I'm collecting all the Daredevil run. So it's like issue. Let's say it's 22. I don't remember what issue it was. And so I got 21 and I'm going, boom, okay, here comes Daredevil. And then I'll get that book. Now they didn't ship it and it sold. It got really hot. And then I never got it, man. Like I had to get like a second printing of that, which sucks, So I worry about that kind of stuff when I don't get it from my shop. Like this week, I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go to another shop and look and see if I can find it there. Because honestly, even my shop owner was just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. We may get them, we may not get them. So I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, this isn't really a may or may not like a situation. Like, I need these books, so it's very, very frustrating. These guys got to get their shit together, Diamond and whoever, man. I mean, it's crazy. And I feel like it's just going to get worse. All you hear about is like shipping problems in general right now. And, I don't know, man. It's scary times where maybe this is what finally drives comics digital, is paper problems and shipping issues. So
yeah, because then you'll never have an issue. You could always just pay the money. You get
play on words there. Never have an issue. See what you did? God, you're clever.
Yes.
So yeah, we'll see, dude. We'll see. Maybe that'll be the death knell to paper books. Who knows? But what other articles? You had another good one, didn't you?
Yeah, this one we're taking with a grain of salt. It was really, Jesus, I can't believe I'm actually going to be doing this on. I don't think we've ever cited this website, but over at giantfreakingrobot.com, exclusive. Winston Duke, who plays, of course, M'Baka in the Black Panther movie and also in Avengers Endgame, is the new Black Panther. So anticipation of Black Panther 2 is high. Fair to say, of course, with T'Challa no longer Chadwick Boseman following his tragic death, a lot of people were looking at, of course, Shuri, Letitia Wright. But of course, if anybody knows and been following that story, she got injured over the summer. So they had to, they put the production on hold for a little bit. And unfortunately, with her still being injured, they've completely halted the quote unquote production of the story. And with that being said, that they're looking to possibly change the storyline, which is going to bring M'Baka as the next Black Panther. So again, we're taking this here at the Comic-Con podcast with a grain of salt.
Yeah, and Justin and I were talking about this offline as well. Like I read a couple articles that talked about them having some issues with Letitia Wright as well, and worried about her being the face of Black Panther moving forward because she has a certain stance on the vaccine mandates, and she's posted or reposted. It was weird. It's one of those things where like, man, it's crazy how much people like look into it now. And I can't remember exactly, but I swear what I read was that they were like, yeah, she liked a post someone else had done about like vaccine mandates. I'm like, bro, dude, you're after her because she liked a post. Like she didn't even post that, she just liked something and you went after her for it. So there's that also maybe be taken with a grain of salt as well. I don't know the how true and accurate that is, but that was what the article said that I read, that might be some issues, and that, yeah, like the movie very much could be her as Black Panther starting off and then kind of relinquishes it at the end to M'Baku, who kind of takes over, which I don't know, man. Like I'm not against that. Honestly, I feel like I would enjoy that more than Shuri being Black Panther. Obviously I think the best would be to bring back
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, Killmonger would be awesome, but I don't know if we're going to get that. But I do like Winston Duke. He's awesome. He's been great in like the little minor supporting roles he's had.
I don't think he's mainstream enough for for the Marvel MCU, but I mean, as an actor, he's definitely a great actor. For what he's been in. Of course, he's been in the couple Marvel movies. He was in that movie Us, where he's the main character. So I don't know what else we'll see with him, but for the few movies that he has been in, I feel like he's definitely has the ability to be a prominent character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and taking over. But who knows what I feel like, Black Panther being pushed back because of Chadwick Boseman, and then with COVID, and then now with Letitia Wright, and now we don't know. We just, and I think, and we talked about this, that all the Marvel movies have been delayed in general. So I feel like this is definitely going to delay it even further. So this will come out next year in 2022, that it's going to get delayed till 2023, probably.
I actually read an article somewhere also recently, like a week or so ago, that there was talk that maybe Okoye might become the Black Panther. I mean, out of all the actors still there she has the most star power. I don't know how to pronounce the name. Danny Gurira. I don't know, probably just butchered the hell out of that. But Michonne, from Walking Dead.
That's how everybody knows.
Yeah, right. Michonne. So, I mean, she has the most star power out of all of them. And honestly, she's been the character we've seen in the universes, like in moving forward in the Marvel universe the most. As like she's almost the best representation of Wakanda besides Black Panther at this point. So, we'll see what happens, man. I mean, obviously Chadwick Boseman, it just kind of that derailed everything, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So, but you know what? Avengers, I think it's Avengers 62. I think it's what it is the issue, the first appearance of M'Baku. So I don't know. Maybe go out there, scoop that up. Maybe that could be a hot book here. Yeah. Yeah. And it's reasonably priced too, man. It's not a hard book to find. So, but cool. So another Marvel news, we have another kind of like a shakeup of who might be taking over the mask, so to speak, of a big name character. So Marvel's new Iron Fist might solve a massive MCU problem, and it fits Shang-Chi's world. So you may know that there's an Iron Fist story coming out called Iron Fist No More, where we are going to see the end of Danny Rand as Iron Fist. So there's been a couple promo images of new character who will be wearing the mask of Iron Fist, and it is an Asian character. A lot of people are speculating that it's Swordmaster Lin Lee from first appearance. Well, so his first appearance is strange. Agents of Atlas, I think, right? But it's a digital comic for his actual first appearance.
First US is New Agents of Atlas number 2. His first cover appearance is on number 1, but he doesn't appear in the comic until issue 2. But yeah, it's like a digital or
yeah. So I mean, it obviously this was an issue when they did the Netflix show Iron Fist on Netflix. There was a lot of issue about the whitewashing, the white savior trope. about Danny Rand being a white guy who's basically, taking over this Asian culture and becoming Iron Fist, right? But like, I get it, dude. I understand people's concerns with that, but it's not like they created that character for that show. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, I feel like people look at these with like different lenses. Like, it's not like just all of a sudden Netflix or whoever was like, hey, let's do a show where there's this white dude who goes over to Asia and becomes a mystically powered superhero, and we bring him back and do all that. That guy's been around forever. You know what I mean? This is like an original character. So I don't know, the outrage over that never really made sense. I know a lot of people didn't like Finn Jones. Obviously, Tim hated him.
Oof.
He's
bad.
Season 2 was great. I thought maybe not great. It's not the right word. Season 2 was a lot better. And it was a bummer. It kind of went that way. But I do like Danny Rand, man. I think I'm not upset that there's going to be a new Iron Fist by any means. But I then look at it and I'm like, man, what's going to happen with like Luke Cage and Iron Fist? Like, are we going to have that like buddy up anymore with those two? Like, I don't know. It's just a weird MC or like Marvel universe without Danny Rand as Iron Fist moving forward. So I don't know.
I think the issue really, and I don't think this is, well, again, within the comics, if this happens, if we get Lindley, Swordmaster as Iron Fist, I think this is a great way to push Iron Fist forward. But I think the issue was with Netflix, because Netflix had all those shows,
right?
And then they, and then the whole time frame that you couldn't use these characters, so everybody kind of forgot. Even though most people will always and only remember John Barenthal as Punisher, like all those other shows are, and then second is
Daredevil,
Charlie,
and Jessica Jones.
Well, no, I agree. Jessica Jones is another great show, is up there, but that's what I feel like is like people are like, oh yeah, they were on Netflix. Like it's not something that's current. It's not something that's current where it's always. Right. I think maybe once they put all those shows onto Disney Plus and brings everybody back, and again, maybe there's that leaked photo that Charlie Cox is in Spiderman, which everybody's in the next Spiderman movie, I guess. I guess that's realistically is what we're gonna have to wait and see. Like, will Daredevil, Charlie Cox, the lawyer, show up as Matt Murdock? Will he be in the next Spider-Man movie? And then that kind of sees all those characters from the Netflix series, bring them into the current MCU.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. I don't know a lot about Swordmaster. I did try to, when he had his ongoing, to be honest, I'm not even sure if it's still ongoing. He had his own little
it was only
series.
Like 10 issues. Yeah, it only went like 10 issues.
I think I read the first 2 and it wasn't very good. Like, I didn't really like it. But I don't know much about the character Swordmaster. I'm not super upset about this, but I mean, I guess in a way, a little bit I am, just because I do like Danny Rand as Iron Fist. And I mean, the Immortal Iron Fist story is like by Brubaker is amazing. Like, that's what I would love to see adapted. And you want to do an Iron Fist story in like the MCU, straight up do the Immortal Iron Fist story, like with the cities of heaven, the 7 cities and all that. Like, that's the story that needs to be done. But I see the appeal for the MCU to have Lindley, and it makes it a little bit more, online with diversity and bringing him into Shang-Chi character, so I get it. I mean, I see what's happening, and that's fine. You know what I mean?
But we've always gotten that in the world of comics, and we've always gotten a mainstream character that is somebody else has taken up the mantle for a while. So,
right.
Again, like, we've had Batman, we've had the Superman, we've had Daredevil currently. So, why isn't that someone else can't take up this mantle? Everyone's specking also, even with the whole death of Doctor Strange, that, we'll get a new Sorcerer Supreme. It always has to be a shakeup.
Yeah.
Spider-Man changes like, every couple of years.
Yeah. Captain America, we got a lot of shakeup. Here's the deal. Danny Rand will be back. I mean, he'll be back as Iron Fist inevitably at some point. So,
yep.
But cool. So that's some comic news there for you. I think that's kind of it, right? Or I think you had one more article, didn't you?
No.
That was kind of it. Yeah.
That is it for the articles this week. Light week of stuff.
Yeah. So we did do an Eternals review. If you guys haven't checked it out, if you've seen the movie, it's definitely spoiler heavy. So check out our spoiler review on Eternals, and you can hear about Justin and I's opinion. We don't really want to talk about it too much on this episode since we did that one, and it's still pretty fresh. We don't want to ruin anything, even though everything's out there. But
I gotta say real quick though, I looked at the analytics for that episode, and it must have been a lot of people that went to go see that movie because I had a lot of listens too, and even though it only dropped 2 days ago, so I guess everybody kind of checked it out, and we appreciate it. And again, if you haven't seen it, or when you do see it and you want to listen to it, it's up on the podcast platforms. I actually just put it up on our YouTube channel as well, just for anybody who wanted to check it out over there as well.
Real quick, because not to get too much in depth, but I feel like in the past 2 days, I had 2 or 3 people actually tell me they didn't really like it. What has been your like with friends or people out in, maybe not like comic book people? So these are like friends of mine who go and see these movies and stuff, but they're not like, they don't read comics. They're not in like comic community by any means. But like the guy who cuts my hair, and then one of my Marine buddies, they both were like, "Oh, I didn't really like it." I was like, "Really? Like strange." Like, I get it. They're tough characters, man. I mean, especially if you're not in the comic world, you don't know who the hell the Eternals are, So
yeah, the only person I talked to was my brother about it. Other than that, like, actually, and my buddies, I saw it last Thursday, and my buddies came over from high school, came over to the house, and I briefly talked about it, and not like they cared. And exactly everything I said on the podcast is what I basically said to them. So,
right.
I really haven't talked to anybody who hasn't, hated it. Everyone, even that I've seen on posts on Instagram, have been saying that it's kind of where we were at as far as reviews. And some people said it was amazing. Some people loved it. And, to each their own. I haven't seen anybody said that it was just like absolutely awful.
That's true. I haven't seen anyone say it's like garbage by any means. Yeah. So cool. So check out that review for sure. Check it out. Let us know what your thoughts are on Eternals. So like always, we're going to round out the show here with what we're currently reading. So kind of been a light week. Like we said, Diamond had some issues, and, like we talked last week with the paper shortages, there hasn't been a lot out these past couple of weeks, man. It's kind of been hard each week to kind of like come up with something, to be honest. But we each have a book. So Justin, why don't you go ahead and start?
So of course we have to talk about this Venom #1, the post Donny Cates era with Al Ewing doing the writing. You got Ram V and John Hitch on the art. So, we have, if you read the end of Venom, that, he's kind of the now King in Black. He kind of controls all the symbiotes. And of course, you got Dylan Brock as the new Earth Venom. So with this issue, it's kind of a 2-parter story. It's kind of part Eddie Brock Venom in space, and the other half is Dylan Brock Venom down here on Earth. And I gotta say that I absolutely hated this issue.
Really?
Oh, dude, I absolutely hated this issue. I
love it. I love it.
Okay, here we go.
You're so absolute. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Reading the Eddie Brock in space reminded me of how bad Venom Space Knight was. Like,
I didn't read Venom Space Knight.
It was such a bad series. Well, that's why. Like, it was such a bad series that I couldn't even keep up with it. Like, we all know that I'm a huge Venom Rick Remender run, and then it was that trash, and then it went to Lee Price, and then back to Eddie Brock. But the Venom Space Knight stuff it was just so, like, I just couldn't get into it. I'm like, Venom flying around with these symbiotes that he names different people.
Oh, the Beatles,
like,
yeah, right.
Oh God, it was so bad. To me, like, the only thing that saved it is like I like Sleeper.
Yeah, hell yeah, Sleeper's awesome.
I think Sleeper symbiote. He's a cool character. Like, I'm a cat guy, but I think him, like, with him always with Dylan was always like my favorite thing. Like,
right
when they're having their conversations, and the same thing, like, we always had, Eddie's always had this anger issue, and now Dylan's got like this anger issue. Like, why can't it be anything different? Like, why can't it just be him being a more, I don't know, excited, like Venom, right? Like, he's a kid.
Like, like more fun, like out there swinging around, like old school Spiderman type.
Or like Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Like, why can't it be that type of Venom? So I don't know. Like, of course, there's the end of the end of the issue ends with some first appearances, and we're gonna find out what's going on. You got two first appearances in there, you know, and of course they're more symbiote type characters, and it's like the next Null character. So
Right.
I don't know. That's my kind of read of the week. There really wasn't anything else out there. Um, Honorable mention, and this is a title that I spoke about previously. Silver Coin issue 6 came out last week. I don't know. Are you keeping up with that? Did you
No,
read that?
I wasn't reading that.
So, of course, with the Image books, it's always like 5 issues. They take like a month or two off and then they come back. So Silver Coin was originally like a limited series, but it did so well that they ended up making it an ongoing series. So the latest issue, and I thought it was awesome. The latest issue had, of course, the Silver Coin, and it finds a kid who's like in the arcade. He's a kid who gets bullied because he's terrible at fighting video games, and all of a sudden he finds the silver coin, and then he starts winning. And it's pretty funny. Like in the video game that he's playing, one of the characters that you could choose is Spawn. So I thought that was a cool like homage because it's an Image Comics book. But and then of course it turns into like a sadistical like just like horror type book because that's what it is. But man, the killings in this issue were crazy. Like I love Silver Coin. I think it's like how Ice Cream Man started off, and now like this is like the next thing because you don't need to read issue by issue like 1 to 6. You can read them in any order. You can read them out of order. But I love Silver Coin. I think it's one of my like favorite series that is going right now. So I'm happy it's back as an ongoing.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that, and I need to check it out. It does sound really interesting.
It's good. It's really awesome because there's still no like official origin of the Silver Coin, and they always jump around in timelines. Like I think issue 5 was like in the future, issue 4 or 5 was like the future, and then one of the issues was back in like the pilgrimage age, and then most of them were modern, and this is modern. So it's a good read. I think you could just pick it up just as like, even if like you can't get issue 1 anymore, just pick up any random issue and read it. It doesn't matter.
Nice.
So what's your pick for this week on this?
So I read Venom as well. I liked it well enough. I didn't have the issue of hating Space Knight enough to like kind of bug me, but I don't like how OP Eddie Brock is, like the Venom character. Like it's just too much. But we'll see. I have hopes that it'll get better. Like Al Ewing, obviously, I think is a great writer. So and I think it's tough, dude. I think it's tough to kind of come off of like character defining run from Donny Cates on this guy. Mm-hmm. And it's going to probably take a couple issues to get away from that so that Al Ewing can kind of start to tell the story he wants to tell. So I'm hoping, man, that moving on, it'll be a cleaner, better story. So anyway, it's kind of a light week, but one of the books I really, really have enjoyed, and shout out to Justin for telling me, because I thought this was going to be the last issue, but it's actually, we got one more. We had issue 17 of Hellions came out this week. So I've really loved this run. I was talking about Zeb Wells earlier, and the writing on this, it's just been really cool. This team of characters is just kind of like zany. I really, really like the lineup. You got Empath, you got Havoc, Mr. Sinister, Nanny and Orphan Maker, the Quanon, Psylocke, Scalp Hunter, and Wild Child. So a lot of these characters, besides like, honestly, Havoc and Mr. Sinister are probably the two big names, and then Psylocke as well. But this is kind of like the Asian Psylocke back in her original body, so it's not your Betsy Braddock character. So, but it's a really cool lineup of characters. It's all just a bunch of shitheads that got put on this team together because they couldn't be trusted anywhere else. But it's been fun watching old characters like Nanny and Orphan Maker that are so weird, and the story is really good. It's been action packed, and I'm excited to see how it ends. So, like I said, it's going to be 18 issues total. If you get a chance, I know they have a hardcover coming out, collected edition here shortly. That I think might collect all of them, minus like the tie-ins and stuff that were like on the events for Dawn of X stuff. But check it out; it's really cool. I'm a massive Havoc fan, and it's been a really, really fun book. So, other than that, I guess honorable mentions, I don't really have like any like exact issues, but I'm still really loving. I read all the Power Rangers stuff right now. You know, they have all like the what is it, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Like there's like 4 or 5 titles, and they're all connected. And it's been a really, really good story. It's moving on to this Eltarian war that's coming up. That should be pretty cool. And then I always keep up to date on the IDW TMNT. It's just so good. I love that story. Like so.
Nice.
But yeah, that's what I got this week. That's it.
Cool. All right. So that's it for episode 44, putting it in the books. We appreciate everybody hanging out with us tonight. Again, shout out to all our veterans. We're recording this on November 11th for Veterans Day. I don't really have anything going. Well, real quick, funny story. I just did a Whatnot sale this afternoon, and I realized that I kind of ran out of Gemini mailers, so I had to actually order Gemini mailers, and I plan on doing another Whatnot sale over the weekend. So I'm hoping that I can kind of scrounge up some Gemini mailers, possibly to going to my LCS and asking him if I can take some, and then I'll just replenish them because I actually had to order them. Or hopefully people order enough stuff where I can wrap it up and just put it in a priority mailbox. So that's all I got. Hopefully I'll get, and then of course tomorrow, if you're listening to this on Friday, we have the Disney Plus day. So we'll be talking about that next week.
And Shang-Chi's coming to Disney Plus.
Yep, that'll be out tomorrow. So
side note, I know we're wrapping it up, but I rewatched Black Widow for the second time, you know, obviously since it's now on Disney Plus. And man, I enjoy it. I don't think it's horrible. Like I enjoy it. I love the Yelena Belova character. I really enjoyed it more on the second viewing for sure. So and I'm excited to watch Shang-Chi again as well.
Same, definitely.
Yeah. So that's all we got, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, check it out. Our Eternals review, if you haven't already. And if you've already seen the movie, like we said, it's very spoiler heavy. So we pretty much talk about everything in it. So check it out. Let us know. Like Justin mentioned earlier, please contact us at the comiccon@gmail.com for any voice memos, emails, any questions, or on our Instagram account, the Comic Con Podcast, Nemesis Prime, or Milton the Manimal. And we'll answer any questions you have there too. So that's all we got this week. And we will see you guys next time. Peace.
Later.